to the show. This has been a weekend. So, welcome to Bass and Bonsai. We're back in the house. And these Elastec soft plastics are just eating up at everything. So, we got to get them out here and show you guys what did and didn't work. This is from yesterday. They're no go. They didn't even make the trip today. So, we went out fishing with Charles, and Charles called it. We're heading to the water, and Charles goes, I'm going to catch a giant because I just realized I left my phone at home. And guess what? Charles caught a giant. So I'm going to put that video out probably tomorrow. Maybe tonight, but probably tomorrow. So make sure and watch that to see that fish. And I'm not going to put the weight. You're going to see the fish he caught, and I want you guys to guess the weight because we both, me and Charles thought it was a real, like, weighed way more than it did. And I thought it kind of did too, but you'll be surprised at what it weighed. You guys let us know what you thought it weighed, and then in the full video, which will be coming out later on, I will show you we did weigh it. We went and got Charles' scale, and I'll be honest, I think Charles' scale and mine are like off. I know, they weigh light. Anyway, here is everything that I threw at him today. Yesterday, there's probably most of the stuff was what I threw yesterday too, but we'll talk about the biggest issue that I've been having is, no, it's not that. It's not what you're thinking. Hookup ratio to the bites and getting fish in the boat. Now, a lot of little dinks, I've even lost, tons of those, but those I've never worried about because, let's face it, a lot of times little bass, they just don't stay on for a few reasons, but we don't really care, right? The little dinks are better that they flop off so you don't have to jack with them, and, baits like this, you end up hooking yourself at trying to get them off because they shake right when you reach for them, right? They can see that hand coming. So anyway, let's jump over here. So we got a new bait from Charles, and we've got a few scratches on it. It's caught a few fish. This is not the color Charles caught his big one on about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months by now, but that's the closest we got right at the moment, and that's a good color. So I picked up one, maybe two. I might have got two of those just so I have a spare, because that's a good color, and it did catch some fish. This bait caught some. This bait I was cussing yesterday, then I realized like all my hookups were not good, but this bait actually, that is just a cheaper one from AliExpress. It actually isn't a bad bait. I do need better hooks because this is one of the issues. A little bit of rust starting on the split ring, it looks like. But this bait, I've got a few in this color and a few in other colors, and it's not a very bad rattle. It's a very cheap rattle, or it used to be. I have to double check the prices of it now, but not bad, not horrible. But none of those, they were working today. Yesterday, I couldn't really get any of them working. But those were sort of working, but hookup ratio was an issue, and that really, we got on a little bite was with that and peanut butter and jelly jigs. These jigs didn't work real great, and they worked better with the true, just a peanut butter and jelly zinkers on the back than they did with, almost any kind of trailer. And jigs in general weren't, the jig was up. The jig really, right here, this dude right here, it was so windy. You guys know the deal. It was so windy. I had this 5/8, this is, or 3/4, whatever this one is. This is like the biggest mop jig I think you can get. And it started out the day brand new. I drug it across the bottom, rocks and stuff, and we caught quite a few fish. I actually had one still, and that's just a peanut butter jelly. And you look at how chewed it is, from whether it be from dinks and just from stuff hitting it and whacking it. But it did do pretty good, and it was really the fact that it was so windy. I needed that much weight to cast and kind of still maintain bottom contact, feel the bottom, and then get bites and stuff. But that one was actually pretty good. This 3/4, or 3/8 was just too light. The 1/2 ounce, these so far I am not liking. I even cut this one down. I'll try to show you. So, I don't even know what I did with the other one. Oh, here it is. So these Kamikaze craws from Big Bite Baits, I bought a pack of each color. I like the colors, but man, I just feel like they do not get bit that well. So I kind of trimmed this one down slightly. I took the roundness off of it. Still, I'm not a huge fan of those. Those two jigs were more or less like not good. And I bet you if I would have rigged them up with some sort of Zinker's worm, I probably could have done better. But they were definitely heavy enough. Half-ounce baits, yeah, just not that good. And I missed one on that one yesterday, a nice one. But today, they were out of the mix. These two, this one mainly, but I even got a few more hits on that one. My Toledo Gold is a no-go. Buzzbait, no top waters were hitting today. I told you Charles caught a big one. I'm not going to tell you what he caught it on. You're going to have to watch the video. It's coming up. Like I said, it'll be a short video of Charles catching it. We're fishing from the bank before we even got out in the boat. Long story there, but make sure and watch what he caught that fish on. This rattle trap, as you can kind of tell, was more of a this color kind of thing than it was this color kind of thing. So our Toledo Gold hard knocker was really a no-go today. There was a brief time which is the place we went, that's usually this right here. You guys notice a pattern right there? I caught them on all these, but I also missed a lot on all these different, I may not have missed any on a spinnerbait. I missed chatterbait fish, rattle trap fish, a couple different jig fish, didn't make it to the boat. We never did get on a square, but I've tried a couple different square bills. All I found out is that I really like these. You guys have heard it before. These ATVs, like a couple times I felt like I got hung. I'm like, oh God, I'm hung up. And then I just kind of first of all, I just give it like a little slack and then just kind of wiggle it a little bit. And it always, like, it brought itself back out. We didn't have to go get it kind of thing. And then this one, oh boy. Let me get him out. I briefly threw that one, which that color works at times. And so I thought if this color is working, that color should work. But this color, none of the square bills were really, I thought if that color is working, but they weren't really in a square bill mood when we could get on. They weren't really relating to wood as much as what you would think they should have been, maybe. And it was just so windy. That dude, no go. I didn't even try any other. I'm like, I just briefly tried jerk baits, and it felt like I didn't want to mess with jerk baits. I did try this color, or like kind of a homemade spot remover in the 5/8, and I started throwing the 5/8 just for kind of the fact I could keep them. Where's the other 5/8? So this color I thought would have maybe worked, and I thought I could keep the 5/8 a little bit, down, and just when it's that windy, we're talking, it's still windy out there right now, like it's a windy day out here. But no go, nothing. Our little Screaming Thunder Cricket caught a few, but it was really with if you guys don't follow the channel, I've got one identical to him that's newer. He got a little bit of a beating today, but he's not near as beat up as our original Screaming Thunder Cricket. This one I tried to write bonsai. It didn't come out too good. You can almost make it out. But anyway, and this one is what I call a Big Papa, because it's like a Neo, but it's a 1/2 ounce, not a 3/8. Caught some, missed some on him too with the blade. I was fishing this with the blade, this is how I like to fish with something like that and a blade. I usually feel I have real good hookup ratios. It was struggling yesterday and today. So what else? Oh, I briefly tried our peanut butter and jelly. Since these jigs were working so good, I thought, well, let's try that, dude. And I think I caught one on the first cast and then nothing else. Top water, whether it was a whopper plopper, buzzbait, or the frogs, the little dinks were hitting top water, but not anything of size. So there's through all of that. Not really much to talk about here. These just peeled off, and I need to... I'll probably reheat them to where I can use them again, but yeah, you guys don't need to know about that. Oh, the Wiggle Wart. That's the OG one. And I thought, well, if they're hitting at orange kind of stuff, I just tried it, and no. Charles did catch a few on his peanut butter and jelly firetail from a headhunter. He caught a few. I never even threw mine. And then I also tried, so here's the deal. Me and Charles kind of did some wheeling and dealing. He had bought some he bought, like, he stocked himself up on the 6 cents because he likes these. He does better with these. I don't think he even owns a Booyah Hard Knocker. So I picked him some of these colors up. I bought like 2 of those and then another Crackle Crawl in the bigger one. I don't think they make this in the 80. This is a 70, Quake 70. So I got that, and then he was wanting some of these pink Zinkers, so I gave him a pack of pink Zinkers, the smaller chatterbait, and then 2 of the real cheap chatterbaits, and then I was like $10 for what I got from him. So he just put a Zinkers, this bubblegum Zinkers on Shaky Head, and he got on a little bite, but they were Deans. So, but he got on a bite, and they were definitely eating it and eating it good. I just never went down that rabbit hole of, fishing one by itself. But I did try this, and nothing. And same thing with Charles got on a bite with the peanut butter and jelly jig, is what gave me the idea. I'm like, I might as well pull my peanut butter and jelly ones out. But then he threw a almost identical. His chatterbait, mine looks a little different, but he threw one almost identical to his, and he couldn't get anything on a chatterbait either. But Charles's best bait was that peanut butter and jelly jig, and then just a bubblegum Zinkers is probably where the majority of his fish came from, except for the big one. Mine came from all over, but half of them didn't make it to the boat because I'm struggling with hookups for whatever reason. But it didn't matter if it was the Poison Adrena, I think even the Super Destroyer with the jigs, and then I was actually doing pretty good with the GLX with the jig, and then I just switched to because I wanted to throw this chatterbait with the GLX, and I put the Super Destroyer on the jig mode because that's what I originally got that one for. I didn't even throw. I put the frog, tried it real quick on the tequila back rack, threw a swim bait around briefly. Had one fish. Of course, it got off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It was the bigger crappie swim bait. And, where is it at? What did I do? Oh, hang on. I forgot. When we were fishing from the bank, I forgot about these guys. Hang on. So we were fishing from the bank, and I threw the stuff I was using on the bank in the back of my tackle box, along with the new baits I got from Charles. So I almost forgot about those. So I threw. Should I let the cat out of the bag? No. Anyway, stay tuned to what Charles caught his giant fish on. But so yeah, I picked up another Crackle Crawl, but I wish they were a lighter orange on the belly. My little half-ounce Crackle Crawl has way more crackles in it, and it's a lighter orange. I like it better. But there's the other one to that, and that's what I got from Charles. And then I was throwing buzz baits, a frog, and there was nothing going really. I think the white one's the one I threw the most, but wherever I put it, it was in the bag. But so I don't think I threw the bluegill one. I think I threw the white and then the black and blue, and then I decided like I might as well throw swim baits. So I threw this guy, and he just kind of about a foot under the water, maybe a little deeper, and just kind of has that little S motion. And I had one, like not a ton bigger than him, probably like a pounder, hit it, got it about halfway to me, popped off. I'm like, oh God. Tried this one, nothing. This one does not get, I don't really like these in the smaller, I like the big ones, the full size ones anyway on the tequila back rack, but after that, they almost feel like they're too small for me. That swim on just hooks on every hook. So, yeah, those were thrown. This one only a few casts, and I'm like, no. And then the one fish on that, and then nothing on the buzz baits, nothing on the frog. But I left the frog on I put it in the boat with the frog on it. But the tequila back rack just set the whole day. I never even got it back out again and fished it. And I never fished, I don't think I ever threw my 802. It was with me, but I never even threw Shaky Head, I don't think. Because it was just so windy that I briefly threw our free rig setup just to give it a shot in a couple spots, but it didn't do anything. It still hooked up on the rod. So basically just a couple soft plastics, you know, with a kind of a drop shot weight instead of a bullet weight, and then you know, Texas style hook kind of thing, EWG. That dude, nothing. It was nothing. But it was so windy, I would have had to put like a ½ ounce one or even heavier to fish it. So, real quick, and then I'm in this video, I just wanted to get this out there and get all of my zinker stuff and Elastec separated from the other plastic so it doesn't melt. The only difference from last week to this week, and it doesn't have anything to do with almost any of my other rod and reels, was I switched and I put my Elite TI reel on the Super Destroyer. That rod never really failed me. I took the reel that was on it, and it's sitting here, right here. I didn't take this reel with me, okay, both days. And I didn't take this rod with me both days, the Elite TI. That's the only thing different. I took this off the Super Destroyer, took this reel off of this Elite TI, the Elite TI reel, and the Elite TI rod combo, and I put it on the Super Destroyer, and then every one of my combos sucked at getting fish hooked and keeping them hooked. I don't know if it's the rod or the reel that's lucky, and I left the luck at home. I know you guys probably don't believe in all that kind of stuff, but something, the fish gods were angry. I don't know what went on, but I'm not bragging, but I feel I'm pretty good at, I may miss one or miss another one, then I'm pretty good at getting a feel for, you know, how to get fish to the boat. And man, it was comical. It was just to the point where you couldn't cry. You had to laugh at the fact of how hard it was for me to get a fish in the boat. Charles was laughing, as you'll probably see in some of the video. And Charles like, mine's hooked real good. Because he started on this, and at first like 5 fish, they weren't huge. We didn't get on. Charles got there, we fished from the bank, and then he caught a giant. And then we never caught another fish that probably even come close to weighing 2 pounds the whole rest of the day out in the boat fishing. Look for what he caught it on and what it weighed in the other video. But anyway, when he started throwing that right off the bat, because we didn't do the swap around until we got out into the boat, and I'm like, okay, here's the pink stuff. I pulled it out of my bag with my zinkers in it, and I'd already gotten those from him. And then we figured up after the trip was over, I'm like, I don't know, I owe you some money, don't know how much. So we figured it up, and I owed him about $10 difference. But he caught 5 fairly quick, and every one he had to like hold it up and go, look, he's hooked like right in the corner, you know, corner of the mouth or up in the roof. Like every fish for a while I was pulling in that I did get in, they're like hooked in the lower lip, hooked on the outside of the mouth. I'm like, what is going on? Like every bait I was using, they just weren't committing to it. And so I was like, well, I could try. So I tried different rattle traps, and is there something I'm missing? I don't know. The funny thing is though, they were hitting it. And then I did not go all the way, but then the jig, I guess the jig it did get better once I slowed down and just started throwing the jig. And I don't even know how many fish we actually caught. I would say Charles had probably 30, but man, I ain't kidding you. Like, some of them were like this size. Because Charles he'll throw some BFS stuff. No offense, Charles, but some of your fish were this big, and some of mine were too. And some of them I couldn't even get in that were this big. But when it's a smaller fish, let me explain myself to where some of my reasoning is why you lose some fish. So when you're throwing a bigger hook, and it's a fish this size that hits it, and you yank, well, you're just pulling all the weight. So you're just like, that fish grabbed hold of it, barely big enough mouth to get in there, and then when you yank, and if he's like, unless he's turned like this way, you don't like yank him around. He just like, whoa, and he came with it, and he still shut on it, and then he's like, oh, I don't want that thing. So I think you have to have a fish with enough substantial weight that when you pull against the weight, you know, whether he's turned or not, there's a better chance of that hook getting in there on any of these baits. But then, you know, we're in that time of year when they definitely jump and head shake and do all that. So you kind of, the hook setting is important, and also the rod, forgiveness in the rod and the bend and all that. But And most of mine, like especially with what's like some of these hooks are, pretty stout. And I'd pull one up and I'm like, look at that sucker. The jig, I lost one on a jig, and I'm like, look, you couldn't even see the jig. It was down in its mouth, and he came up, jumped 2 or 3 times, and I just went to lift him up, and I'm like, look at that, you can't even see the jig, and he shook and just popped right off. I'm like, that is ridiculous. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. It was so bad. It's funny, and I'm not going to put a lot into it. I'm not changing how I set the hook because, like I mentioned, every fish, if I would have got it in, I don't know if I would have brought a 2 pounder in the boat today. They were of smaller caliber. It's just what was biting. There was quite a few of them, and yesterday the one that I definitely struggled. That one sucks for me because it was on the Tequila Baccarat, which should be capable of a jig rod, and it was, where's the jig at? It was on our new, that Zowire 4.5. It's a custom size. It's not a 5/0. It's not a 4/0. And all this and that. And this sucker got stuck once in the wood. I put it through some pay. I was throwing it around today, and yesterday I was throwing it a little bit. But man, it was at least 3 pounder yesterday. Just jumped up and went, boop, like not spit it, or shook it off, just spit it out, and then shook his head. And I'm like, God, that thing wasn't even it didn't even go. And I felt like I set the hook pretty good with the Tequila Baccarat. So I don't know. So far, the jigs I tracked down and found, and if you look, they're definitely a little thinner wire. What's up? NRG? What? I don't even know what that is. A bunch of letters. What's going on? So it's definitely a stouter hook, but man, that Tequila Baccarat and the Superstore are about the two most powerful rods I've got. And it is no bigger than the Hack Attack, which I've set the hook on that with a lot of different rods, the flipping fluoro hooks and that kind of stuff. So I don't know what's going on. But the week before, I had no problem. Like most of the fish, I may have lost one or two with all of the Screaming Thunder cricket thing going on. 2 different places I fished, and both trips were like I didn't feel anything was falling off. There was no issues with, there's no issues. Everything I felt was working pretty good, other than the week before that when I went with this rod. It was this rod, and actually then it was the tequila. No, the Poison Adrena. In this one, I was throwing rattle traps when I was down at Pogue, and I did lose what I felt like was a bigger fish on this rod. I was like, oh God, I felt the weight, and then it would come off, and I'm like, man, that was a pretty big fish. So I got frustrated with this rod that day, but everything else had been working good, and then I lost a couple on a 1/2 ounce with the Poison Adrena, and I thought, I don't know, something may be up with that, but everything else was fine. I don't know. You're thinking about getting a popper and a whopper plopper? Yes, I definitely recommend the whopper ploppers. Did I throw a whopper plopper? Where are my whopper ploppers? Maybe I didn't even throw a whopper plopper today. I threw one yesterday for sure. Yeah, I recommend. Now you could get the Chapo, but I still recommend to get the original OG whopper plopper over the Chapo, because unless you lose that whopper plopper, the hooks don't even wear out. Like the whopper ploppers are legit tough baits. You get out there and just fish them, and you just keep using them. The Chapo it may be kind of like that. I've only ever bought the one, and I put it up against my couple different whopper ploppers, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see a point. And if you prefer the Chapo, get it. If you're up in the air, just go with the whopper ploppers. A lot of times you check around, you can find deals on them. You don't have to pay full price. I got another damaged hand. I don't even know what I did. But as a popper, it's hard to push. I don't know. I don't really want to tell you on poppers, because you can literally go on AliExpress and just get some cheap poppers that will work and catch you fish. I've got some that will do it, but then it's hard to knock the Megabass Pop Max or the Pop X. I don't know if I'd spend that much money for the little baby Pop X, because you can go on AliExpress and get the little Sonora ones, And those, I don't know that I've ever felt like the baby Pop X gave me an advantage over any of them littler BFS style poppers. But the Pop and the Pop X for that matter. But I like the Pop X. They got some good colors, and if you already are getting a Pop Max and you want a smaller one, the Pop X, it works a slightly different. But yeah, the Mega Bass ones, those are another bait that you might eventually, the hooks will probably wear faster than what do on the River to Sea Whopper Ploppers, just because they're a smaller hook and you start catching bigger bass on the poppers, they tend to bend those hooks somewhat, and eventually you'll maybe want to change one here or there, because I think I've had to change them on almost all mine. But I know $20 sounds like a lot of money for a popper, but man, that I've had that one for years now. I've lost one, had that one, and then have several others that's come and went. I've either sold or lost or whatever, but it's hard to lose one. You got to be kind of ridiculous, like I've done before. I'm like, popped off, and I'm like, I'll go get. I've had one a fish broke off. I hadn't checked my line in a long time. Broke off on the hook set, and then he jumps back up, spits it back out, and I managed to go get it again. I would have to go back in the foot. I don't remember which one that was, but I got it back. It may be the one I still have in Wakasagi, whatever color. My favorite color. So yeah, let's keep it at a half hour. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Thanks for the comments. We'll keep it under a half hour. We get all this stuff put up. I think what I'm going to do to just change my luck around, I got my cousin come over to look at the let me show you. Don't go anywhere real quick. I'm going to show you one bait real quick. If you're going to go to AliExpress, I don't even remember the name of it. Let me show you this bait. Let me show you, since we're talking whopper ploppers and poppers. I didn't even get any of them out. Just because what little time we were throwing topwater, they didn't seem to want to commit to topwater bites. But right over here they are right here. You got them all right here. So, all the little dudes. There is a baby Pop X. Here, now you're going to have to put your own tail feathers. This came with it, but you can't find them like this anymore. But if you look on there, Sonora, TSU or whatever, have these little bitty poppers that are even smaller by a little bit than the baby Pop Max. They're only like $3 to $5. These little suckers work. Now though, they want to sell them without this, and you can either buy these trebles. Oh man, why won't you focus? You can buy these trebles either pre-made like that, or just do like me and rewrap them and add just a little tinsel kind of stuff. Because I think I wore that one out just by catching so many fish. But that kind of fire tiger color, when they're that small, I do like fire tiger when it's a real little bait, kind of like a bumblebee type thing. But that one works good. These are old. The thing about a baby Pop Max, oh dude, these hooks are destroyed. I haven't messed with these in probably over a year. There's my favorite color, but you can't like find it anymore anywhere. I need to put new hooks on this guy, just put him back into action. But these are either $17.99 or whatever. I only ever bought this one, and I will never buy another one of these when they have little smaller poppers from AliExpress. But these I like. That Pop X, and then, Pop X, and then the Pop Max. See, they're the same color. Little different look to them, but that is the same color pattern. These are my favorite, but you don't have to have this color pattern. I suggest something with a white or pearl type belly, but your own preference on color. These they walk real good. This one actually works better at kind of a pull it along, and it's like spewing out water deal. But definitely fish catchers, and they last a long time. The hooks on the little ones are not as good, and if you look, I've changed this. This one's probably 10 years old or older. It's old. This one's probably 5 to 7 years old. Those are old baits. That Sonora is probably 5 or 6 years old by now. I just put him over here because that's the only one I already fit. But this is one you're going to want to look on AliExpress for these funky lipped one. If you look at them, I don't remember the name of these, and I can't find this color anymore. But look at that lip. If you look on AliExpress and you find this popper, you'll want to pick up one or two or some. If you find this color, you pick them up, and then you let me know and where you found them. Because I haven't found it forever. So let me hang on. Let me get the rest of my topwater stuff. So this is just the baits that made it to my big box. Here's my original topwater box. So I still have this Pop Max. That color does work, but I just like the other one better. This is actually a knockoff of something that came from AliExpress. It's kind of a knockoff bait with that little thing. I never put enough time in it. It's probably okay, but there's an actual true Pop Max in the, that's kind of funky version of it, but that is their White Python or whatever. There's a knockoff version that I just have never had the luck in the all white ones like what a lot of guys do, and them tail feathers need to be straightened out. But the Whopper Plopper Chopo debate, I basically put these two guys up to head to head. This is my original Whopper Plopper, which is probably 12, I don't know, however long they've been making Whopper Ploppers. This is one of the first ones I bought, that big 130 size. And I thought these hooks are way too big. And they're actually our old Bass and Bonsai videos of me going out and just tearing them up with this on a few different videos. Now, nothing gigantic, but I have caught giant fish. I've caught 5-pounders on it. I've caught like days of just dinks for days, whacking them. This thing, it's rusting. If you see that hooks, that's some rust right there. But those are the original hooks. I've never, look at them sticking me. I've never put a sharpener on them. I've never, honestly, it's like rode hard, put up wet, and that original, that's the first one I bought. I've had some come and go that I've lost or whatever. Here's another one that it was an OG from back in the day, looking all nasty, probably faded. Still works. There's times when you just want that kind of ghosty type topwater deal, and that's a smaller 90 that works excellent. I prefer either the little 90 or the 130. The 110's not bad. And then this one is a knockoff that sucks. They'll catch fish, but the knockoff Whopper Ploppers aren't as good in my opinion from AliExpress. They will get the job done, but I don't plan on buying any more, except for those little bitty dudes. I guess I could show you those in my BFS box. This is a Rogers knockoff that I thought had way too much chartreuse on it, and it doesn't work too bad. It's kind of the elegy bone kind of thing going for it, but I don't really have much confidence in it. But the Chopo, it's not bad. I bought this one, did a little comparison, and I thought, it's not bad. I don't plan on buying any more Chopos. I don't plan on buying any more Whopper Ploppers until I lose. If I lose one, I'll probably replace the Whopper Plopper. If I lose this, I just lost it. I'm not worried about it. It's never went on like fire catching fish where I'm like, oh god, I got to replace that. So no. But yeah, this one, I was going to show you this thing. So over here, there's also, that's the true Mega Bass. I thought it said something on it, maybe not. But that's the Mega Bass White Python. Not a fan of the White Python even in that color. That color right there, that bass color in the Pop X or the Pop Max, that's a good color. Kind of just a bass color, not really a baby bass, just bass, GG bass, whatever they call it. These poppers work good too. These can actually be picked up on eBay. They come in like a 4-pack or whatever, but that color is not a bad little, that popper doesn't work too bad either. So I kept those around, but here is another one. The only other colors you can find are going to be some weird, they kind of look a little funky, but that one actually does catch fish too. Just not as good as the all white. But if you see those, that style crazy mouth jutting, this upper lip like way out there, he's got an overbite for days. You probably want to pick up a couple of those. I don't know about any links and all that. I bought these 3 to 5 years ago. Probably 3 or 4 years ago now. But I keep that one in there, and I just haven't gotten it out yet in probably that long, probably a couple years. I just haven't fished poppers as much. We go out and I throw Well, usually buzz baits, whopper ploppers, or frog because I can't get the buzz bait or the whopper plopper in a tight, funky spot. And then when I do grow, I go usually to the Pop Max before I go to these other baits. But there's times just that finesse type thing. If you just feel like they're on top water, I probably should have thrown it today. The luck I was having. So yeah, that's it. We went over. Thank you. We went over our. Here's the other bait I was going to show you. So here, that's my favorite color, crackle craw. If you look at it, so that color. The new ones you buy, just like that one Charles. This one came from Rogers Sporting Goods. Or no, sorry. This one came from Tackle Warehouse. I ordered it when they got them in stock. So it's supposed to be the same color, but you guys see the difference? Like, I just like this little more subtle, mean-looking deal to it. These, I think it's a little too orangey. That dude about took me out. And I still yet can't say that I like these over my Booyah Hard Knockers. I like them; they're good, and definitely Charles goes on little tears, kicks with them here and there. But I'm not there yet as far as liking them as well. Dude, where did you go? I was wondering. I'm like, I don't know where. I didn't throw my black and blue gold blade because yesterday I threw it in this box and I forgot all about it. There he was. Thunder Cricket, black and blue, gold blade. Set out today. Where'd he go, buddy? Got him out of there. There's the color Charles. Charles did get on a little bite with that too. And then peanut butter and jelly jig. And then I don't think he ever tried a peanut butter and jelly just by itself. Zinkers on bottom, but the pink Zinkers was working. But yeah, that dude was thrown yesterday. He did not see the water today. He dry as a bone. But he'll be put up with the rest of them. They should be dried out here shortly. We'll put them all back up, get ready for next week. What else? Well, I got this open. I have not thrown the, I brought it, it's in there. Here's the bait I keep forgetting. I would have thrown it today had I remembered. I've got these baits underneath the frog. So in the top of my new tackle box, if you guys remember right, Chatter Frog, OG, we went out and caught him once, and I still have it. I just kept it in the box. But underneath that thing, I've had these sleeper craws forever, and I would have tried one today. And then this little, that's the Z-Man, I believe. The little, I call it sleeper goby color. But I totally keep forgetting about these, and I need to get them out and use them. That's just one of those things when you have too many baits, and somebody's like, you can't have too many baits. I'm like, yeah. I think technically you can, because I think I do. There's just so many baits. I did not take my swim bait. Oh, that's the only other you know what? I forgot. The only other thing is different too. Is this rod and reel has stayed behind for this weekend. I just left the Conquest Loomis Shimano Conquest behind with our Steez Limited with the BFS shallow spool from AliExpress. Slings those little bitty 2.75 like it's nobody's business. So I'm like, I want to go on a little bigger bite. Well, we went on a lose every other fish you catch bite. What's going on, Michael? So I'm just sitting here waiting for my cousin to show up. We're going to put the computer on Rugburn and try to figure out what's wrong with that thing, because I drove a Honda Accord to go fishing today. I know. We're slumming around here. I'm limited to a Honda Accord, a Ford Focus. There is a Ford, not Ford, Mercury, what do they call that? Mountaineer? I don't know. Whatever the version of the Mercury that's the Escape, that's what's sitting out front that technically I could drive if I needed to. Nothing we have other than Rugburn will hold the boat, though. So I got to go fishing with somebody, or we're toast for right now because we don't have AC. Yeah, Mariner. I was wanting to call it something crazy. I forget what. I was like, no. Oh, Navigator. It's not a Navigator. It is way smaller than a Navigator. It's a little bitty thing. Actually, Charles had a little Escape, I think everybody's owned a little Ford Escape at some point in time. I think Olivia had one. Charles had one when I first went back down and started fishing with him. Now he has the Ford Bronco 2. But he had one of those little suckers, and we took it. Well, we went to go fishing down at a creek or a stream, basically a very small. Can't really call it a river, but it was a little stream, not really a creek. And that thing, it had rained so much that it was raging. I'm like, I don't want to go out in that. It was just enough of a current moving. I'm like, first of all, it's going to suck, even if we can get out there and don't drown. And so, yeah. But yeah, Mariner. I might end up buying it. If I think they got it to see if Javier wants it. He will be 16 next year. But I don't think he likes it. I think he wants a little. I think he wants He wants a big truck, but I think he is probably going to end up getting a little truck. Possibly a little Ford Ranger or something. There's a little Ford Ranger down by Charles for $2,500. My cousin's got a Ford Ranger for $2,500, but they all have some issues. The last thing I need is another Ford with issues, right? But Rugburn keeps it up. Junk and Rugburn. I don't need four-wheel drive. I just won't go fishing the days it's raining so hard that it's too muddy to get into where I go. I'll buy me a little two-wheel drive truck of some sort and haul the little bass baby around. Or I'll just get something, maybe this little Mariner, and I'll just get a trailer. I think it's got a trailer hitch. Who knows? But I do want to get a bigger bass boat at some point. Tournament 17, 18 or whatever. But yeah. Oh, I got a question for you guys before I get out of here. Seriously, it's a serious question. So what in the world... Did I just change this screen? I don't know if that changed on your... I like zoomed in on it. I didn't know I could do that. Is that zooming in on your guys' end? I didn't even realize that was a thing. Oh, don't get back. Get back. So, what was I gonna... There, I passed a boat. I was driving down the highway, and there was a blue low. And I could have swore it's the shortest but widest aluminum, not really John boat, but almost bass boat, had that little bit of a curve on it that I'd seen. And I was like, what size is that? And I can't remember now. The name, it had a name on the side, but I can't remember what it was. But I like the idea of something that's not as big as a bass boat, and that it could still hold a 25 horse motor, so I could get it for Jacomo, so I can kind of blast up and down and around Jacomo, Prairie Lee, if I want to go to Smithville, or when it's cold or hot, or cold in the early spring, late fall, I could go to like Blue Springs Lake or stuff like that and still get around okay with the 25 horse. Because once you get into that, anything over a 16 foot for sure bass boat, them 25 horse motors, they don't even come up and play. They're just like blah, plowing around, which is not horrible. You still get around fairly decent pace, but because I'm thinking about putting together a bass boat that I can go almost everywhere. Like if I, keep a good working 4x4, I can put it on little honey holes. I can put it at Jacomo, Watkins Mill, Maple Leaf, Odessa Reservoir, Lake Lafayette, all these places in just one boat. And then if I just keep the bass baby for them little pits, a little just hard to get to, but half the pits Charles has that we can fish, half of those we can actually put. Technically, we could put a boat on a boat like that. We'll go. You could only maybe fish to one side, but you could fish a couple of places that are at down at Pogue and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I got in the back of my head of I need to buy or put together a little boat like that. Kind of like what Charles has, but with a 25 horse motor, so it'll also go to the bigger places and get around fine. But if you guys know like your boat sizes and what I was looking, I want to say it was a low, Lowe, you know what I mean? And it was blue. Kind of remind you of like what a bass tracker would be, but it had no console. I want to say it had a tiller motor. I don't think it had a console, but it had the shape of a kind of just a shortened, older style low bass boat, but it wasn't real. It wasn't real long. I don't even think there was no way it was 16 foot. It could have been a 14 footer or a 12 footer that was 5 foot wide. It was wide or four something. It definitely wasn't like I think Charles is what a 1436 or whatever they call those is what the standard size is of those 14 footers. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying because I don't know nothing about the whole size stuff. I just know whenever you see them stacked up at Bass Pro or Cabela's or whatever, and there's like the 12, the 10, and the 8, the little bitty suckers, I'm like, yeah, I'd just soon have my Bass Baby as those. But once you get a little bit bigger, when you can get at least a bigger motor, if mine would actually hold, my Bass Baby's only rated for like a 3, 5, I don't know, something ridiculous. I think it could handle a 5 horse. I would buy a 5 horse, but it would be illegal to like put on Giacomo or whatever because it got a rating on it. I think is how that works. But then I could get past my 2-mile-an-hour top speed. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, under an hour. Seriously, this time I'm gone. Stay tuned. I'm cutting all my luck out of the rod and reel combos. I'm going to tear them all down. So I'm cutting off. Some of them's going to get new Proberos. So some, not this 40-pound, but some of them are getting new Proberos 20-pound. And all of them are getting, not this 30-pound. This is my swim bait setup. But P-Line Original or that gold stuff. But I'm putting all new leaders on for sure. And then I might change around a few rod and reel combos. And the ones, if this is looking worn, I'm going to put new line on. I'm trying to change my luck up. And because I have time this week to get prepared for next week, which I don't even know if I'll be fishing for sure where, if it's going to be this hot or this windy or whatever it's going to be. I might take a little summertime break because it is 4th of July. If you guys didn't know that. No, wait, that's the next weekend. So this weekend coming up, there's just a normal weekend. Then the next weekend's 4th of July weekend, and 4th of July falls on a Friday. So we got Friday, partied up, get up early, still on a Saturday, and go fishing unless you go too many fireworks, too many fireball fireworks on a Friday night. I should do a 4th of July Fireball Friday night. I wonder if somebody's got hot spot set up. I could do it down in the boonies because I might do that if I end up down the country. So be looking for that. Not this coming Friday, but the next Friday. Be looking for that 4th of July Fireball Friday night. We're going to try to make a festivity of it. It'd be something to look forward to. Hopefully we've got a completely functioning truck and a plan to keep fish buttoned up no matter what. I need to dig through my deals right now. You guys want to do that with me? Let's just look and see. Let's take a gander if I even have any. Because let's just show you. I know. I said I was leaving, but I'm not. I'm not right here. I got time, but my cousin's not here yet anyway. I'm just waiting around on him really. So here are the baits. I've more or less decided to just go ahead and keep these. I'm just going to keep that. I'm going to keep that one in the box. This is the old original, and this is the first one I bought of any of these, and I bought a few other colors after. I bought that one, and I caught some fish, and just with the stock. No, wait, those aren't stock. So yeah, look at those. I just put like some cheap, funky hooks I had on there because honestly, those are better than the stock hooks. See those? See that one's already bent, and they're not. I mean, they kind of work, but they don't really work. But so that's what I need to do because I think I'm going to keep these in the mix. They're fairly affordable. They got just enough. They're kind of like a subtle rattle trap that just gets bit. It does get bit, especially this color. That's why after that one went nuts, and I did catch some. I ordered a couple more in that color, and then this one. This one's never been thrown, so look at the hooks. They really don't look bad, but I think they're, I don't know, I'm not a fan of those they look cheap. Those cheap looking hooks, and then see how they get the rust. Like this one hasn't been abused yet, and it's already cut that funk to it. This one's brand new. So I think I will leave those out and try to track down some hooks, change out those hooks, and then I don't know what, how, when, or where they're making in the box, but honestly, this one I know I've thrown, I think. I know this dude's seen, yeah, he's got just a little wear. I briefly threw that color. I think this will work once it gets that shine off of it. I think it's a touch shiny, flashy, in my opinion. That one's insane. I'll probably do something different with it, but it is the same profile. I don't think I've ever thrown this one though, to be honest. I kind of gold with that red. I don't think I've ever thrown that one. This guy, I'm pretty sure this one's been thrown too. Yeah, this one and this one I've thrown along with the white one, and then I had to have the fire tiger one. That's not really a fire tiger. It's more of just a chartreuse. They left off the orange. Not if I'll be honest. I like this color. That color is not far off, but the white ones are mainly the ones that I'll probably try to track down. A couple better hooks. I'm not even gonna mess with none of these smaller ones. I like these are cool baits. They look cool and all that, but they're just they're not for me. They'll probably go to. I'm thinking about taking all this stuff that there's no way I'm gonna even use anymore. So here is original Excalibur. This one I shimmied up some of the. I thought it had too much of a color on it, so you can't. Actually, you can. You can make out what it was. Excalibur X or 50 or whatever. But these baits aren't bad, but that's a one knock version of it. But I'm telling you guys, this is the new the Booyah one knocker this bait. And a lot of you guys will argue with me till you're blue in the face that no, it's not. But it pretty much is. So yeah, those I need to just those need to go bye-bye. But anyway, this is the box that I don't think I'm going to keep any. I went through and put all the different hooks on those. I briefly threw one of these. This one way over. Where do you go? I threw that one enough yesterday, not today, that I'm like, I don't even think I like any of those baits. I don't think I think I just don't like that. If you were going to little ponds only and stuff, maybe, but I'm probably going to take all those little ones and I'm going to stick with 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce. I've even got a couple of these small 1/4 ounce type deal. I think that, well, the one, I had a few others, but I guess I don't anymore. But I'm not even a fan of them that small. I like, if they're not, they're either going to hit the 1/2 ounce, because you can catch the littlest dinks even on the 3/4, or these. If they're not hitting those, I feel there's some other bait that, you know, is a better option. And I only ever bought one of those new Bill Lewis, but I have caught a few fish on it. I don't know if I want to mess with those or not. I may stick with the 6 cents and the Booyah hard knockers, one knockers kind of thing, and just call it a day. Weed out some of that dead weight, you know, with our, and then these, because these are also a good cheap one. So basically the 3 brands of my you know, so far, even though I got a bunch, these Strike King ones, they just never have impressed me. A lot of you guys will swear by these, how they fall, or just a few things. These baits have never just impressed me like my Booyah hard knockers do. So anyway, right, they're not trying to impress me. Is that what you're going to say? So yeah, that's another thing I got to look forward to do. I'm going to change out a few different combos, all of the leader, all of that stuff. That's probably what I'll do. If not tonight, tomorrow, just get all these baits put up. And then this OG Wiggle Wart, that's another thing. Those hard baits I just had out, I'm going to probably thin down to, I need to find one. You guys comment. So I know you're probably going to say rock crawler, but of these style baits, do you guys prefer the OG Wiggle Warts, rock crawlers, those firetails, like we're getting that Rogers has them several places, the Headhunter firetails, or a 3XD or some kind of Strike King? What's your favorite, you know, that longer build? What are that, 5 to 8 or 10 to 12 foot range, and them little bitty deeper divers. What's your guys' favorite? I've tried a bunch. Year before last, I bought some of those deeper diving square bill strike kings. They hung on everything. I I think. Do I have? No. Do I? Do I? Where's that? Hang on. I still have a few different. I don't have much. Just a few handful of stuff. Like these little baits, I kind of like these. They're so lightweight and they're kind of smaller fish, smaller bodies of water. But I've had decent luck on those little Bagley type deals. Like this, isn't this a 3XD? No, it's a 5XD. But this 5XD, I'm just not overly impressed with it. There's another OG Wiggle Wart that I had Norm Coulter paint up. Not overly impressed with it. And this is I think this is a 3XD. So yeah, 5XD, 3XD. They've never really. I probably ought to get them though in my box instead of in here just sitting around the house. And then there's the other Firetail ones. And these colors never really impressed me either so far. Because it's about as deep as I like to throw. Like that, I don't know, I feel like a rattle trap or just bouncing a jig off bottom for me. The water I fish, majority of it. But these, like, there's spots in Jacomo, Lake Lafayette, and Tom's, and a few other places where you can get on sort of a deeper diving crank bite. But I feel a lot of times just throwing a rattle trap out there and bouncing it on and around, I can kind of do the same thing. But anyway, which one are your guys' favorite of any of those? You know, not the big deep divers, you know, not the 8XDs, 10XDs, nothing like that, but those, you know, what I call the smaller to mid-size, deeper diving crankbaits. Because I don't really have any favorites in them. I just have some I kind of use, kind of get some fish on, but nothing that I consider good. You know, oh yeah, those are the ones. Just especially like what I have in chatterbaits, rattle traps, that kind of thing. I feel like I've got my favorites in color and, you know, brand, and then a few even off brands that I do like. They feel like they work pretty good. But when it comes to these dudes, the OG Wiggle Warts, the few rock crawlers I have, I don't know if it's color and just I don't fish them enough, maybe kind of like a jig. You just get out there and fish it long enough. Because I did think I caught I don't know, one or two little dinks on this, but I was hoping like a big one would jump in there and grab him. But I'm probably going to weed out most of those like this, and maybe just get them all gone, and then buy a different brand of whatever. Maybe just a couple different colors, the 3 and the 5XDs, a couple different colors, and just give them another shot. Because maybe I need the more, I don't know, broaden my horizons. All right, I'm out of here now. Keep under an hour. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, tagging along. Stay tuned for the video tomorrow. If you didn't watch it today, it dropped the one where I went on a tear with the GLX and I could not miss a bass. Go watch that video. It's worth watching. I think it's called something to do with the honey hole. Watch that video. And then the video I got to go work on right now and get out for tomorrow. After my cousin gets here, I got to put together a video. That was the morning bite in the honey hole, and then the grind after the morning bite, because it definitely wasn't as good. But stay tuned for that video tomorrow to see what other things, you know, whether it be rattle traps or what, I did still manage to keep the bite more or less kind of going, and we caught some more fish, some decent ones and all that. It was fun overall. But then be looking for Charles Giant that he caught. I'll put that video out. There's a possibility it may not be till Tuesday, but yeah, probably try to get it out, if not tonight, tomorrow night or something, or Tuesday morning at the latest. Charles catching his giant, maybe a couple other clips of just how many fish I lost. I may put some little like blooper deal together also along with that Charles's biggest one after You watch Charles catch a big one, you'll watch me like all these right at the boat, bloop, 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 just gone, gone, gone. Never get them in the boat. And then put all of that footage together because I still have to finish the one from last week, and then I've got yesterday's videos or footage to put together in a video, and then today's to try to get out all this week done for next week, right? Editing video sucks. Doing this right here like I'm doing, once I'm done, I'm done. We don't have to look back. This video is done, and it still ends up getting as much or more views than my out fishing, coming home, editing for a couple hours, putting it out there. These videos right here get more views. So it's kind of insane. Now, in the long run, some of those I feel do jump in and they'll get, 1,000, 5,000 views. And then these kind of just flutter at that 300 to 500 at any given one. They get up there a little bit and then they just kind of peter out, right? Showing people how to use a bait caster, those are like two of my biggest bass fishing videos. I guess everybody still does not know how to use a bait caster, including me some days, but yeah. All right, guys, we're out. 1 hour and 1 minute gone. It's a wrap. Fireball out. Fireball out.